Our goal is not in her.
Hello everyone, we are Tammy and
Kason.
E4-Design, once again here with another Insight interview.
Insight Teens is a career development resource that we created to help teens and young adults who are struggling to decide what career or field they should go into. Our guest today is none other than Mrs. Erogbogbo, who will be telling us about her career experience. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, without further ado, let's get right into the question. So our first question for you is, what is your occupation and what made you decide on that career?
So right now I'm a design hardware quality engineer. And what made me decide to go this way? I think after doing something for a while, I just wanted something different, and the opportunity for quality engineering came up, and I decided to go for it. So I guess that's what brought me to where I'm at right now.
I just have one follow-up question. Just to clarify, what exactly is, did you say quality engineering? Because I've never really heard of that before, so I would like to know more about what exactly that is.
Fantastic. I mean, quality engineering, let me see. I don't know if you want me to talk about it from what I do or just talk about it generally.
I think generally.
Generally.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So quality engineering is, I mean, basically the quality of what you've engineered, right? So whatever you're putting out there, you can design it, you can test it, but someone has to check that it's, I mean, depending on what it is, if it's a car, right? You have to check that either one, they follow the procedure needed to make that car what it is, right? Second, it meets any standards or regulations that may be out there governing cars generally, right? And that, the design of what you're putting out actually meets any requirements or specifications that have been put together. So it's just making sure the quality of what you're producing is there, right?
So I have a follow-up question with that too. Like, so
Okay.
do you work for like a company that produces like, let's say like computers, or do you like work on a bigger scale, like from like cars to like notebooks, stuff like that, or like?
I work for a company that produces infusion pumps. And I'm sure you've seen people in the hospital, or maybe you've seen it on TV there, when they're connected to like IV, there's usually a, how do I describe it? Like a machine hanging on a pole that IV is run through, right? Maybe you see the bag hanging, or it's put into the machine, right? The medical device. And basically what it does is it pumps the fluid into the patient's body, right? It could be fluid, it could be medicine. I mean, it's fluid, which could be medicine, which could be, something to nourish the patient's body, right? So I work for a company that designs those infusion pumps that are used on patients in hospitals. So as a quality engineer, it's our responsibility after the design is done, or during the design, or before the design, that what we're going to put out there is not going to harm the patients any further, right? So we're using these things on really sick people, right? We have to be sure that it's going to do what it said, what we called it to do, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's really interesting, and I think that really speaks to how extensive the medical field is. I mean, your job doesn't have anything to do with medicine at all, but just thinking about how what you do affects a patient despite you not directly being involved in that process, really speaks to how long that chain can really go and how
Oh,
many factors go into taking care of someone in a hospital. So I find that really interesting. So thank you for sharing that.
absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, so our next question for you is, what are the biggest challenges you have faced in your career journey?
The biggest challenges? Let's see. Um, that's an interesting question. I think I would say trying to find the path that I want to go, right? And this probably started in college, right? Trying to decide what major, I started in the path of a different major, management information systems, right? Now deciding, is that really what I want to do or get to, and then switching into electrical engineering. Um, and then even after being a design engineer for a while, now, thinking and deciding, is this what I want to do, long term or longer term, right? And then switching into something else. And now, making the decision of what's that something else, right? I'll say those are major milestones that I've just kind of had to think through and make a decision on where do I want, what direction do I want to head, right? Otherwise, even after switching, there's that learning curve, right? You just don't switch and automatically boom, you know it all, right? There's always that learning curve. So navigating through those moments is also another thing one has to work through.
I think that's really applicable to anyone, really. Kind of figuring what you want to do, what you want to do. It doesn't have to necessarily be something that cannot be overcome. Because I know from my experience, a lot of teenagers get really worried about, oh, I don't know if I want to go to this field or that field. And I feel like knowing that everyone goes through that process of deciding is a real comfort to anyone trying to make that decision. Because I just feel like because some of the things we go into are so versatile, making that specific decision can be a little bit harder. But knowing you have like a support system and other people around you that go through those same things is very important in like a teenager's life. So thank you for bringing it.
Yeah, no doubt. And even to clarify that, when I was getting into college, I didn't know what I wanted to do, right? But at that time, management information system was something that was very popular, and it was something that people were getting very successful. It was a program that people were, doing very well. They were very successful at it. So it was actually my dad's call to say, you know what, if you can't decide this major is good and it's paying off, then get into it. And I started off in it, with the intention of going through college with that. But at some point, I realized, well, maybe it wasn't the direction I wanted to go, and then made the decision to switch. Yep.
I would also like to add one more thing. I think one constant between all of these interviews is that realization that you don't have to know exactly what you want to do when you're going into college. It doesn't necessarily mean you're not going to be successful. Just knowing you have options, and that even if you go into college having chosen one path, there are always other options for you, and therefore you shouldn't be afraid to make that decision to change. It isn't encouraged to change in the middle of something, but just having the option there can really help. Because I know personally there's a lot of stress that comes with college, just making those decisions, and just knowing there are options is really important so that we're not set on this path of destruction because we think we can't change our mind. So thank you for bringing that up once again.
I think that we would like to move to our next question. What advice would you give to students and young adults interested in pursuing your career?
Young adults, I'll definitely say, I mean, if you want to get into quality engineering, definitely have maybe some kind of design background, you know, depending on what field. I'm in the pharmaceutical industry, making medical devices, right? So it's something like bioengineering, electrical is also a good one to get into it. Mechanical is also a good one to get into it. So maybe a design background, especially, or, there are different kinds of quality engineers, right? Like for me in my, space, we have a team that consists of software engineers, hardware engineers, and consumable engineers. Consumable engineers are the people that work on the tubes and the bags that go along with the medical device, right? That go with the needle that goes into the patients, right? So there's a set of people that focus on that, right? I'm on the hardware end that works, on the pump primarily. So someone that so something like software engineering, right, will be another option to go into. So that's, I'll just say in terms of the background coming into it is important.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for sharing your career journey with us. We really appreciate everything you said. One thing I really took out of this is, well, I would first like to say, yes, on this page, we like to highlight careers that are popular, but at the same time, we also like to pay attention to careers like design engineering, as you mentioned, may not be as popular as being a doctor, but plays such a fundamental role in that process. And like you said, you're in the pharmaceutical field of, you engineer products for that. There's so many important processes and fundamental things that go into that. And I like how you described everything that goes into your work. And I think it's very interesting that you brought this up, because I'd previously not even known about that career path. So thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Yeah, and to add on to that, like personally for me, like I used to want to like go into medicine, but I also wanted to be an engineer. And like you brought like two of them together in a way, and something like I've never learned of before. And I guess this shows about like a lot of careers like many like teenagers don't know about. Like even they might be like torn between two like career paths, but if they do more research, they could probably find one that connects the two of them, which I believe you greatly highlighted in this interview. And yes, once again, we're so happy we were able to have you here today, and we hope everyone watching enjoyed hearing from Mrs. Erogbogbo's career experience and can take some of her advice and apply it into their own lives. We hope to have you back here again soon. Thank you once again.
Awesome, not a problem. My pleasure.
All
All right.
right, bye.
That's it with the questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, thank you everyone for tuning in. We really appreciate all the support, and we hope these interviews have proved valuable in your lives. Make sure to like and drop a comment down below about what you think, and don't forget to follow us at Insight.Teens. See you next time. Bye.